I believe we are live now. Greetings, greetings, greetings. I hope everyone's had a great day and or weekend, wherever you are, and welcome to the stream, baby. And I see there is some arguing in the chat between Paris and other people, and that's something I actually plan to tackle when I talk about the chapter. Glam, you already know that I had to go official friendly. I mean, I had to take my talents to the GIMP page. What's up, Draco? Oh, by the way, Draco, I haven't been in a Discord with you in a little bit, but I got an apartment. It's in downtown. Hey, Tesla. Hey, Shinobu. Have I already read it? That's right. Yeah. I mean, if you didn't know, the cookie. I read the spoilers every week because I don't live react anymore. And I usually read the chapter. What's up, Nate? I will get into that, Nate, whenever I talk about the chapter. What's up, Cam? Harvesting berries. Nice overlay. Yeah, I I paid money for it. Huh, lol. What's up, Valthius? Who is hopping in this? Nobody. Just me. For those of you who want a discussion, you are going to find a discussion on JD Legends channel, who I believe is having a 10K celebration stream. He recently reached the 10K subscribers. And he will be having a little special on his channel, I think. Either that or on his Twitch. So I will not be streaming hella long. Am I reading anything lately? I recently caught up to Yotsuba. But outside of that, no. What's up, Vet? Eustace Zay. Eustace, shoutouts to you. You seem to be very enthusiastic about my streams and my opinions. I appreciate it. Ten out of 10 chapter? Interesting. What is my rating of the chapter? Well, as I like to say, I no longer rate chapters because I think it's hard to stay consistent. But, well then, I guess we'll just dive right into the chapter, won't we? Get things started. So, obviously, if you're in the community, this is a chapter that has caused a lot of noise, and a lot of people have it as like their favorite chapter in the post-time skip, and I've seen some people have it as their favorite chapter in the series. And from the way that I look at things, there are two perspectives that you can have when looking at this chapter. Which is one, you buy into the hype and you're living in the moment and you're sort of feeling, or two, you take a step back and sort of analyze the chapter and think, does this make sense? And the conclusion that you come to will differ depending upon whether or not you are just experiencing it or whether or not you are thinking about the logistics of the chapter. Obviously, I stand in the second section of that. This chapter is hype. Long fans of the series, they've been waiting for things like this in the chapter. But I think that the writing in this chapter is not very good. No surprise. Although what could happen as a result of this chapter, the question marks, there are a lot of them. This chapter, if there is anything I think this chapter did really well, is that it creates a lot of discussion. So let's go ahead and break down the chapter. Actually, my personal favorite part of the chapter was like the second page when Kaido calls Big Mom useless. That's actually my favorite part of the chapter. Big Mom is so stupid, man. Kaido has to go save Big Mom by rescuing Prometheus. That's cool. Law gets an injection shot in, and Kaido attacks him, and Law uses a new ability that we don't really get to see how it works. It just looks like a shield. But there's not a whole lot of detail around the ability. The first thing I want to talk about is something that I haven't seen people really talking about, which is the negative consequence as far as storytelling goes, if this plans out the way that it's going to plan out, of Kid and Killer going after Big Mom. Big Mom is going to fall off, Prometheus goes to rescue her, and Kid and Killer say, leave Big Mom to us. Now, what do I think is kind of weird about this? What I think is weird is the fact that even though Kid hasn't really been a relevant part of Wano, the parts of Kid that we have got in Wano have highlighted his desire and quote-unquote competition with Luffy to be the ones to take down Kaido. And now Kid and Killer readily leave the fight against Kaido to go take on Big Mom. If Kid doesn't come back in this fight against Kaido, then there are going to be question marks of, well, what happened to his character motivation? What happened to him losing to Kaido and wanting to get revenge back? What happened to him feeling angry at what they did to Killer? What happened to all of these things if Kid's not a part of it? So we'll see where that goes. Doesn't mean that Kid's out of the fight for good, but it is a question mark that we have. The next part to talk about is more like, this is sort of what's good for discussion. So Prometheus, shockingly actually, Prometheus is able to catch up to Big Mom, who is falling, and catches her right before she hits the ocean. Now that's interesting. And the reason that's interesting is because one of the key differences in Whole Cake Island between Prometheus and Zeus was that, like, Zeus was faster than Prometheus, and Big Mom couldn't catch the Sunny because she was riding on top of Prometheus. Yet Big Mom having a head start falling down with her velocity from the island, Prometheus is able to speed up and catch her. That's interesting. But I digress. Prometheus catches Big Mom, and they basically start talking shit to Zeus, which is like, I mean, I guess I understand it, but like, what did Big Mom want Zeus to do when he was trapped in a box? I don't know. But Prometheus asks Big Mom a favor, and we don't know what that is. But the question that we should be thinking about from here is this the part of the story where Big Mom starts to betray Kaido? Maybe. It's possible. Is Big Mom going to join the fight again? Is Big Mom actually going to fight Kid? We'll see. We'll have to see where it goes. At least Big Mom didn't actually fall into the ocean. We'll have to see where it goes. I still don't think it's going to lead to anything positive, but that's just what I think. Now, the third section of this is something that I actually have an issue with, which is we go back to the results of the 3 Ragnaroks, and it essentially did 0 damage to Luffy and momentarily knocked him out for 3 seconds in the same fashion that Apu did when they first got to Onigashima. Yeah, I don't think that's good. Luffy gets knocked out, and then, like, it's only for a few seconds. Why not just have him be injured? Why is he knocked out? How did Luffy not sustain any damage from this attack when he was only blocking with regular hardening Haki against a named direct attack from Kaido, Three Worlds Ragnarok? How is Luffy not severely injured? Is Appu equal to Kaido? How? How is Luffy not fucked up? When Luffy got hit by the Thunder Bagua, he was actually knocked out and pretty damaged. Luffy here has taken literally 0 damage from this attack outside of getting knocked out. There's no visible damage from the attack. Ugh, man. That's not good. Because that doesn't make sense. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. But then we enter the Ashra from Zoro. And also, this is probably one of the only times I'll say I really hope that the officials are different. Because not only, I think the dialogue from TCB during this section was kind of meh, but also the artwork around Zoro and Ashra was very, very off. Like, it didn't look good. So I'm hoping that this is a result of TCB resketching or filling in some things. Because let me go ahead and show you guys something real quick, actually. So you guys see this? Look at the dimensions of the sword. Does that look like an actual sword to you? And look at Ashra in this corner. I really hope that this is just a scan issue, because that's a little underwhelming. But overall, not a big deal, because we care about the substance more than we care about the style. But style is still important. And Zoro uses Ashra. Am I the only one who was kind of surprised that there was nothing new? Ashra looks exactly the same, and there's no special attack. And the response from Kaido is kind of somewhat diminishing of Zoro in a way. Where Zoro enters Ashra, it's a regular attack, it looks like it. Kaido didn't defend himself, and then after the attack, Kaido just basically says, whatever, like, that'll leave a scratch, but now I gotta kill you. I knew that Zoro was going to scar Kaido heading into this fight, and it's what I expected. But I thought it would be a bigger moment, to be honest. That kind of felt a bit off to me. That's something I'm genuinely surprised on. Oh well, though. Oh well. I'm sure that the anime will make that look very, very good. Now, one part that we'll have to get to, which I hope that we don't know what the conclusion of this is, but Kaido gets a cut, and we can't really see the damage of the cut. It doesn't, we don't get to see like a close-up. It's kind of less like a little line of blood. But Kaido says, it can't be, you have Conqueror's Haki too. And Zoro says, what the hell do you mean? I don't know what you're talking about. And then he continues to say, I just put everything I had into the assault. I was hoping it'd at least be enough to knock you down. Alright. So, hopefully this is explained in the future, but from everything that we know, Zoro did not show anything related to Conqueror's Haki. And if you were looking at this chapter from an average fan's perspective, the only conclusion that you could come to was that Ashura is related to Conqueror's Haki in some way, shape, or form, but it looks nothing like anything that we've seen in the series so far. What's even more confusing is that Zoro doesn't know what Conqueror's Haki is, even though he knew what it was in Fishman Island. Okay, whatever. Maybe it's a coincidental thing where Zoro's just out of it, or he's not paying attention, or if he was in a zone or a trance, and he's not aware of himself of what he was doing. We'll have to get an answer. Hopefully this leads somewhere. I'm willing to let that, go a little bit, but it is a point of contention, I would say. But we do want to know what the future of Ashura is, whether or not that's actually Conqueror's Haki, and if it is Conqueror's Haki, why doesn't it look like Conqueror's Haki that's used by Luffy and or anyone else? So we'll see. That could just be a different level. We have to wait and find out. Now, the next part, Zoro collapses. Kaido goes to finish him off because Zoro's attack didn't really hurt him that much at all. Another thing, Kaido wasn't really hurt much at all by Zoro. Law tries to save Zoro and tanks a Thunder Bagua. The same Law that got folded in Dressrosa couldn't withstand some of the things that Dofi did, had endurance issues in Dressrosa, made no strides, and had no on-screen character growth. Law is doing all of this in Supernova Fight, and he is tanking Thunder Baguas. Interesting. This is one of those moments where it would have benefited greatly if Oda had done something with Law's character, strength-wise, outside of Dressrosa, because I mean, no, Law didn't use Curtain. Law used Curtain with the regular attack. He tanked the Thunder Bagua. Okay, all right. We have to assume Law is, but assuming and looking at the story are two different things. Where and how? Whatever. I guess we just have to suspend our disbelief. Law can tank things now. That's fine. And the chapter ends with Luffy getting up after taking his 3-second nap. And I want to point this out. I'll read Luffy's dialogue. All the attacks I tried, they're still not it. That first time I took a blow from your club, I finally get what happened. This was never a plotline. This was just introduced in this chapter. Throughout all of Wano, Luffy was never confused on how he got hit by Kaido. He was never in awe or a question of Kaido's haki. No one talked about this. This was not a part of the arc. So Luffy figuring out what Kaido was doing is something that just happened in this chapter and was not anything written to the story. But then Luffy says, Conqueror's Haki, you can use it to coat yourself, right? Okay. And then Kaido says only a handful of people can do this. You escape death for the last time. And then Luffy instantly uses advanced Conqueror's Haki on the same level as Kaido to deflect his attacks and then start hitting him. And this is after taking no damage from directly tanking a 3 Worlds Ragnarok. And then Luffy says, Zoro, Law, thanks for covering for me. You guys head back down. Leave the rest to me. Is that logical? You know, whenever I saw this happen, the first thing that came to my mind was Luffy has turned into Bam from Tower of God, where he has become a Gary Stu in the way that he just gains abilities without really having to do much. And like Luffy didn't have to like really figure anything out to apply the Conqueror's Haki. Rayleigh sucks. Can we all just talk about how much Rayleigh fucking sucks as a teacher? It's never come across Luffy's mind like, I have Conqueror's Haki. Can I use it like regular Haki when I'm mastering the Hakis? He's never thought about doing before. What did Luffy have to do to reach this point in time to use this? Oh man. But now, uh, uh it's not looking good. So the question here is Luffy actually going to 1v1 Kaido? And the answer is probably no. But that's not necessarily the point, is that Luffy will be in a one-on-one with Kaido and having basically mastered this new technique. I'm not saying like mastered in the sense that he has full control of it, but he basically used the ability right away without any struggle. And one of the things with this is that there's no plot line around Luffy needing to learn this. There's no plot line around Luffy figuring this out. Luffy just gets the ability. He just gets it. So not very competent writing on Oda's behalf, but it's hype and, you know, it's One Piece, so people like it. Now, what do I think is going to happen in the future of the story? Well, as far as Zoro and Law are concerned, there's only two possibilities. One, they actually leave the rooftop and don't come back. Two, Zoro and Law eventually come back to the fight. And I lean more towards the signs of Zoro and Law coming back to the fight at some point in time. I think that what was foreshadowed in the beginning of the fight with Zoro will probably need to find some resolution because, you know, at the beginning of the fight when Zoro tried to unleash his attack with Enma and he missed Kaido, it gives you the expectation that eventually Zoro would actually hit Kaido with that attack. And to have that happen, Zoro will need to come back up to the rooftop. I am going to assume that Zoro is going down into the dome so that he can meet Hiyori, have some stuff happen there. Maybe she gives him the Nidai or Shisui. Maybe there's some Shimotsuki stuff going down there. But Zoro is definitely basically just going to meet Hiyori next. I think that's what the future for him is. Law, not sure if it matters. Maybe he helps some people out and talks to some people, but he'll probably be back up as well. I don't think... will Kid and Killer 2v1 Big Mom? I'm not confident on that either. So, overall, let's just recap. Is the chapter hype? Sure. Is the chapter written well? I don't think so. But that's kind of what you expect from One Piece. And I think that's fair to say. So, how you enjoy this chapter is directly dependent on your investment in the characters. Because I don't think many people are going to try to do anything else with it. Dritz, please explain why ZKK not happening is a terrible choice of Oda. Well, I have the opposite opinion, Dimmy. I think that if ZKK happened, that would actually hurt Zoro's character. Haki is becoming One Piece's Hashirama cells? Oof. Oof. See you later, Vathius. Because I think Ashura is something separate. I think it's just that Zoro put all of his armor haki into Ashura, and by doing so, unconsciously added King's haki. That would be a weird way of doing it. It's possible. Donatello donated $5 and said, with these attacks they're landing on Kaido, do you think they're speed blitzing him, he's just not blocking, or his observation haki is garbage? Well, I guess this is something we can talk about, which is the fact that Kaido and Big Mom seemingly suck dick at fighting when it comes to defending themselves. They get speed blitzed by everything, they get hit by everything, and they don't block. Even when Kaido is like trying to dodge stuff, he sucks at it. When Kaido got hit by Ashura, Zoro even gave Kaido a heads up, said, hey, Kaido. Kaido looked and turned, watched Zoro use Ashura, and then didn't defend himself, and then got hit by Ashura. So I don't know. Was Zoro too fast? I don't know. He didn't look that fast. All of Zoro's attacks are the same. He just appears behind you. So, I don't know. Yeah, I know, Scar. That's why I said earlier that whenever Kaido mentioned that Zoro was using Conqueror's haki, it's not representative of anything that we've seen in the story. There's no Black Lightning, there's no Force Field, there's no regular Conqueror's haki, but it was said anyway. I don't know. We have to wait and find out. I'm assuming that will be explained. Well, Band Clan Ace, we have to find out why Kaido thought that. We don't know why. It doesn't make sense. All we have to do is take his word. So we just have to wait for the answer. I'm sure Oda has something in mind. I would have liked it though. Personally, I think that moment for Zoro, if this was a moment for Zoro to unlock or show Conqueror's haki, like I said before, I wish it really would have been a better moment. Like, the moment wasn't really that great. It wasn't a dire, you didn't feel like it was a dire moment. Like, if we had something on the lines of like a Kuma moment, where, you know, Kuma went to go pick up Luffy, and then like Zoro was there defending Luffy, and you felt how like Luffy was actually defeated by Kaido, actually really injured by the Three Worlds Ragnarok, and Zoro was there alone to defend his captain. It was kind of like a live or die moment, and you felt that severity. And Zoro, in that desperate moment, you unlocked Conqueror's haki. That would be amazing. That would be amazing. But that doesn't really come across. Will Marco heal the supernova when he comes? Thank you for the $5 donation, Ryan Green. Well, from everything that we know, Marco's healing isn't very good. So even if he were to heal them, it wouldn't heal them that much. Oh my god, look at all these donations, baby. $5 from Donatello again. With the attacks we've seen Kaido use in Hybrid, do you think he could have used them in base? You can't see a real power difference from base to Hybrid. I mean, yeah, there's no... Kaido's just swinging his club, and that's about it. There's no difference. The only thing that's different from Hybrid to base form is... actually, I can't even say defense is different because we haven't seen any change in defense. Or speed. It's that Kaido can shoot laser beams out of his mouth. Outside of that, you just have to assume that Kaido's stronger? Question mark? Oh my god, my phone's ringing. I need my mic. Okay, phone's done ringing. $5 from Neo Zoro. Wouldn't that mean Sanji's using Conqueror's Haki when activating Diablo Jambe? Well, we don't know that. I don't think it's even fair to assume that either. What's up, Zaton? Dritz, Luffy learning different types of Haki on the fly is a worrying trend. Well, yes, it is. It is. Dritz, this may be tough to answer, but now 101 chapters in, with everything we know now, how would you rewrite Wano? I'd have to write an entire, like, little notepad down. But essentially, I would just have the plot lines go somewhere fulfilling and not include the bullshit that's been included. $5 from the Veek. Oh my, I'm just rolling in $5 now. If you look at the panels before Zoro got the cut on Kaido, you can see again that Oda draws a panel only for Enma, only one slash on Kaido, all Enma. Well, the wielder of Enma, of course. I mean, it's Enma. And that's one of the things where it's kind of weird, where it's like, would Zoro have even hurt Kaido without Enma and Ashura? And I may be willing to say no. He probably wouldn't have. But this goes back to what I've talked about in previous streams about how the rooftop has not been good for Zoro. But, you know, meatheads see Zoro do thing and think good. Did Oda give up on the plotline of what is actually needed to damage Kaido, Rio, or just whatever? I don't know if necessarily gave up, but I feel like he's just reached the conclusion really fast. Wasn't really a struggle. Most likely Yak. Will the Gear 4 time limit ever go away, or has Oda grown too fond of it as a plot device? You would think at some point in time it would disappear. Yes, Tesla. The issue with Luffy using Advanced Conqueror's Haki is not the... It's more or less the fact that there's no plot line written around it, more so than anything else. Like, Luffy figuring... Like I said in my reviews section, there was no plotline around Luffy being confused on how Kaido was doing what he's doing, how Kaido is applying Conqueror's Haki. Luffy never had those questions in the story. It was just introduced and then resolved in this chapter, and Luffy can use it right away, and now it's a one-on-one. Luffy feels super confident on being able to beat Kaido, and we'll have to see where it goes from there. I think one of the unintended consequences from this arc will be people questioning how strong the Yonko actually are as a result of what Luffy's doing. What do I think Zoro's plot point moving forward now away from the rooftop? Well, I think Zoro is going to meet Hiyori, and then he'll probably find his way back onto the rooftop in some fashion. But there's the opportunity for Zoro to just be put in a completely different direction. For Zoro to get back to the rooftop, there needs to be a part of the story that introduces a greater motivation for Zoro to go back up there, because one of his best attributes is how loyal he is. Luffy just gave a direct order to Zoro and Law to leave him alone to fight Kaido. The only reason Zoro will disobey this rule and come back to Luffy is if something happens to make Zoro do that. Because otherwise, Zoro is going to place full confidence in Luffy and let the fight reach a conclusion. And, you know, some people may say Zoro is he did what he needed to do against Kaido, and now he's going to fight somebody else. We will have to see. Donatello says, what are your thoughts on Luffy not using Future Sight against Kaido yet? Is it purposely written like this, or is it just inconsistency from Oda? I think at the beginning of the fight, it's alluded that Luffy uses Future Sight, but Future Sight has been an issue since it's been introduced, and I don't know how it's going to be fixed. I think Luffy has used it he's used it like twice, maybe 3 times in Wano. But you know, the mechanics of Future Sight are broken, so it's kind of hard for the audience to tell the difference between Future Sight and regular observation haki, because for all intents and purposes, they do the same thing. Oh my, look at all these $5. Sausage Lord. Are Kaido and Luffy at the same level of damage, or has every single attack that Kaido received done chip damage? Well, that's a good question, and I don't know if there's an answer to it. If you look at Kaido's character, like, he has, like, some blood on him, and he's got some, you know, like, those tic-tac-toe crossboards on him that indicate that there's been bruises and he's been hitten. We don't know the level of damage he's received. Like, we can't determine where his health bar is at. He's been hurt. We can say that for sure. Kaido has been hurt. He is just tanking it. Or enduring it. Yo, thanks for the $5, John D. Man. Does Zoro having Conquerors imply that Mihawk has Conquerors? I don't know if it changes the probability of Mihawk having Conquerors, because from the beginning, Mihawk was always a character that could have had Conquerors given his position and title as essentially being the King of Swordsmen. So Mihawk could have always had Conquerors. We just have never seen any indication of it being there. Does Zoro having it mean that that Mihawk has it? It could. But how do you make that connection? I think Zoro is killing Orochi-Dritz. I would actually disagree with that. I think that Hiyori will be the one to finish off Orochi. Tendara! Oh, man. From Eustace Zay. Punches are better than swords in One Piece. Injection to the throat. No Ashura slash to the chest. No Luffy's bullshit power-up in base and mastering cock at the same time. Yes, haki shouldn't be the only thing. Wait, hold on. Let me try and read that again. So I can actually... Okay, so idea is punches are better than swords in One Piece. This is actually true. Injection to the throat. Doesn't work. Oh, you're saying injection to the throat? No, it doesn't do a sufficient damage. Ashura slash to the chest doesn't really do anything. But Luffy punching Kaido, yes, hurts more. That's one of those things in One Piece where you'll notice... actually, one of my favorite analogies to use for this is actually Zoro versus Killer. Do you guys remember how in the anime, and I haven't seen the episode, but I saw this clip on Twitter, that in the anime, Toei basically had Zoro go Super Saiyan and explode the earth with a Kamehameha and go like 500 miles an hour at Killer and do a full slice, and the only damage it did was a little gash across the chest. Swords don't cleave anything or cut anything in One Piece that is a living body, because Oda doesn't want to draw death. I mean, look at how little Zoro did to Apu. When Zoro had the surprise, had the sneak attack, and cut through, you know, his tonfas, and it didn't actually beat Apu. Swords are weird in One Piece. It's Oda's trying to find a balance between not killing characters and having swords be effective, which I understand. Other series have done similar things where you're trying to balance weapons with fists because fists are really cool and badass. Beating people up is cool. Although I would like to see the damage from swords more heavily represented. Overall, let's see what swords versus fists. I mean, I don't have as big of an issue with that because I know what Oda's trying to go for. I just wish that he would do it in a better way because it does make swords look a little iffy. Another $5. If Zoro used Ashura without opening his eye, what purpose do you think it holds, if any at all? Eh, I don't know. Does it matter? Does Zoro's eye even matter, or is it just he got injured? It's the never ending debate of does Zoro's eye hold a secret power? Well, right now it shouldn't because in this instance there is no logical reason for Zoro to not have used his most powerful whatever. And Zoro used Ashura, which is his strongest whatever. If he had eye powers, he should have used them, and that wouldn't make any sense. So I'm going to say that Zoro has nothing. It's the eye is just an injury. It has no meaning outside of that. Kid leaving Kaido is dumb and not his character. It is odd to see Eustace. It will be bad if Kid doesn't come back. Momentary, like Kid going away momentarily and then coming back, I'm fine with. But if he just leaves and it's never there at all again for the rest of the fight, that will make no sense with his character. Roses of Red, ZKK has packed it. Zoro scarring Kaido as anticlimactic. I see you agree, Silvers. It was anticlimactic. It's the worst Jen versus Kaido is like that one Malcolm in the Middle basketball episode. What? Malcolm in the Middle, huh? Interesting. Yo, what's up, Hunter? Oh, my boy Hassan. Still got internet. Oh man, you must be running out. Yo, thanks, Jiwa. Appreciate it. What if Kid and Killer actually defeat Big Mom? What if they do it off screen? what, if, what if they do it off screen? Oh man. I that would be incredible if they managed to do that. Have I finished the second season of Raid Zero? No. I watched the second to last episode and I was so put off by it that I couldn't watch the last one, so I still need to watch the last episode. Is Gear 4 even needed at this point? I mean, sure. If Luffy went Gear 4 now and used Conqueror's Haki with like the Kong gun, what if it just beat Kaido? Dritz, just make sure, have we ever gotten a real Zoro backstory? And if not, shouldn't Oda write it now since we are in Wano? As far as I can tell, there is literally only one opportunity for Zoro to have a backstory in Wano, and I think it would be incredibly forced. Incredibly forced. The only way Zoro is going to have a backstory is if Zoro goes down into the dome, meets Hiyori, and Hiyori serves as an exposition no mi, and just tells Zoro about the Shimotsuki. Because as far as we know, Zoro does not care about anything related to Wano. Nothing has ever intrigued him, and he has no motivation or no memory of anything. So any information that comes to Zoro about the Shimotsuki stuff has to come from a third party, and I don't know how it's going to matter. If it is included, it will be forced. Do I think Zoro needs another backstory? No, I don't. I don't think we need a second backstory for Zoro. I much rather prefer it if Zoro is just some dude. $2 from Sasha Lord. Zoro is not getting up. Oda has 4 years left. What does that even mean? $5 from Donatello. What are your thoughts on what Kid stole back from Big Mom's territory? Is something that'll help inflict damage to either her or her homie? I mean, my thought was always that Kid just took the poneglyphs rubbings. I didn't think it was anything else. Could it be something? Sure. Maybe it's Mother Carmel. Maybe it's like another picture of Mother Carmel or something. And Kid like pulls it out of his back pocket and not having used it for the entirety of the regular fight, uses it to defeat Big Mom. Who knows? Colin Samuel says, Dritz, what do you think this has done for scaling the universe with Luffy now? He's like 19. He's the youngest powerhouse in the world right now. Is it too soon? Age? Unlike most people, how old someone is relative to how strong they are is not the biggest deal to me, as long as you are able to properly and logically explain the progression of that strength. So Luffy being 19 and being the Pirate King, I don't care. I don't think it really matters. What does matter is how Luffy is getting that strong, and that's where the issue is. I was recently going back to chapters and I saw the character cards in Wano Oda shows. And when I saw Komurasaki, her card was saying she is a samurai of Wano, like the Scabbards. What do I think? Komurasaki, a samurai? I don't know if it means anything. Like, I said before that my expectations for Hiyori, and I no longer call her Komurasaki because Komurasaki was an interesting character, Hiyori is not. My expectations for Hiyori are that she will be the one to finally defeat the now neutered Orochi. And she will do that by using a sword. And then obviously she'll have to see Momo. This is where Momo and her will meet. It's during this section. So I guess that would make the samurai portion come true because she will use a sword to defeat Orochi. Does Haki blooming make sense? I mean, yeah, it does. But the way that it's being used in One Piece, yeah, maybe not. Wait, a girl can't do it alone. She needs help. Maybe that's why Zoro's going down, so she can do it for her. Help the poor woman that Kya's. Dritz, if Luffy can beat Kaido in a 1v1, which we don't know, it's starting a 1v1. Who knows? Maybe Kaido gets won over by Luffy's charisma and then defeats himself. Wouldn't that be something? That would be great, right? But wouldn't that diminish all tension going forward unless Imu is a Kaguya? We have to wait and see. I am not involved. Check the description of this stream. Second channel is linked there. What are my least favorite moments in Wano so far? Oh, there are so many to choose from. We have all of Act 2, all of Act 3. So many moments to choose from. Man, there's so... Udon, the Odin flashback, Onigashima. Who will Usopp fight in this war? I mean, Usopp's already fighting Page 1 and Ulti with Nami. So, I mean, like, that's kind of like... We got that under wraps. Favorite moments in Wano? Oh, no. Act 1, Kaido's reveal. Luffy versus Kaido initially. Luffy originally telling Tama that Ace was dead until that went nowhere. But you know, that moment was good. I guess another moment that's basically disconnected from Wano because has nothing to do with it is Roger laughed. Run out. I don't think there's anything else. Oh, the Reverie chapters. Thoughts on Katakuri not being able to apply or not knowing about coding herself in Cock, despite being in his late 40s and under a Yonko. He just couldn't do it. He's just not built different, as the kids say. You know, Kaido said only a few people can do it. Advanced Cock. But yeah, best chapters of Wano are the select few chapters I named, and then the Reverie chapters. What do you think Sanji's gonna do, Dritz? Why is Oda saving him so hard? Is Sanji gonna do anything? Sanji will probably fight Queen. That's about it. That's all I expect. Is him to fight Queen, maybe save somebody somewhere. Fight Queen, you know. It's Sanji. Who cares? I don't know. I don't really expect much more than him fighting Queen. Yeah, that would never happen, Memento. Brandon, yes, Katakuri has conquerors. Yeah, that was in one of the chapters. When Act 3 ends and you going to do a live reaction to the transition chapters, especially since it's very likely Mihawk's bounty is going to be revealed. Likely? I don't know. I wouldn't say it's likely. It's probably going to be a very long time before Act 3 ends. But if I know that Act 3 is ending, then sure. Yeah, I can do a live reaction. Just do you think all top tiers need Conqueror's Haki to be top tier fighters like Mihawk, the Admirals? They shouldn't. But will they? Maybe. Whereas Hawkins, he's probably still lying on the ground. Dritz, we know that samurai have katanas. Why Roger has a katana, not a sword? Roger has a cutlass, not a katana. Should Oda have just made Conqueror's Haki more of an ability for Yonkers admirals than give it to Katakuri, Dofi, Hancock, etc.? No, I don't agree with that. I don't think there's any problem with giving it to characters like Katakuri, Dofi, Hancock. Well, I mean, you could probably take it away from Chinjiao since Chinjiao sucks. But no, those characters are fine because at least with that, Oda had the right idea because he can show the progression and differences in strength. Because Dofi basically Conqueror's Haki was useless with Dofi. Hancock will probably be the same. And then you can show other characters utilizing it in different ways. The issue I have issues with Conqueror's Haki because it's not properly utilized or explained in how it actually affects Haki in general. Maybe we'll begin to see that. It's just that you shouldn't really include it unless it's supposed to make a difference. Like Katakuri having Conqueror's Haki was arbitrary to the fight against Luffy and didn't matter. Just Oda put Sanji in a hole so deep that whoever Sanji beats will fall in with him. It won't be Sanji so cool for beating him. It will be he lost to Sanji. He's lame then. Well, listen. Oda has Oda is setting up Sanji versus Queen, and Queen is by far the worst commander in the series. So Sanji's going to defeat a meme because he himself is a meme. It's only fitting. Whereas Snake Man, it doesn't exist. I don't know. Luffy doesn't need to use it right now. I don't know. Does Fujitora Kizaru have conquerors? They don't need. They shouldn't need conquerors. With these implications, how does Oda justify Blackbeard injuring Shanks? Well, we just have to learn what happened. I mean, I don't think that's an issue. It's just you think, oh wow, Blackbeard did something. I think it's explainable. I don't think Diablo Jambe means Sanji has conquerors. That would be the worst conqueror user in the series. Which do I prefer, Yamato killing Kaido or ZKK? Well, I care about Zoro and I don't care about Yamato, so I would rather have Yamato kill Kaido so that Zoro doesn't go through the disgrace of killing Kaido. Christian, that's quite the thing to say. Christian donated $5 Australian and says, I don't care about the Wano plot, I care about the overall plot. That's why this is hype. Oh, man. Do I think Roger gave his sword to Shanks? Yeah, I mean, that's a common theory. I mean, whether or not it's true or not, I do. The thing is, Oda had an SBS talking about Shanks finding his sword in like the South Blue and calling it Griffin. So if it was Roger's sword, then, or maybe not finding, but getting his sword in the Lost Blue. I forget the exact verbiage. Could it be Roger's sword? Sure. Cameron Mayer, I do not rate chapters anymore. Queen is worse than Smoothie by a nautical mile. That is true, Wale. Where would I rank Jack between Sanji and Big Mom in terms of getting clowned on? Jack is at the top in terms of like he's the most protected. Sanji and Big Mom are literal punching bags. Jack's a punching bag too, but Sanji and Big Mom are much worse than Jack in that department. We do not need Kobe talk confusion. What if Blackbeard used an ability? That's fine. I mean, I don't think it's bad. We haven't really seen a whole lot of what Blackbeard can do. That's like completely all game. If it's not like overly ridiculous, like that's all game. I have no issues with that. Dritz, do you think Zoro improved as a character in Wano? No, I think he went down as a character in Wano. Zoro's just been going on a downhill trend ever since the New World began. Fans are satisfied with him because he's using his swords and cutting things. They don't actually care about Zoro the character. It's the same thing that Sanji fans did in Whole Cake Island. They don't care about the character. They just care about the character doing quote unquote cool things. For real, you think Queen is that bad? Why? Worse than Smoothie, who ain't even a character? At this point, it is a benefit for Smoothie to have not been a character when compared to Queen. Because Queen has been so bad, so horrendous as a commander. It's like, well, Oda used Queen for this. At least he didn't use Smoothie. Like, the only thing I can say about Smoothie is that, like, she's a woman, and this is part of Oda's agenda to just not do anything with women. I can at least say that as like, whatever. But Queen has been awful. Awful. Udon was so bad for Queen. So bad. It was awful. Worse than anything Smoothie's never done. How do the Admirals keep up with the Yonko? I mean, they have hockey too. Do I think King's Race will be brought up again? Yeah, I think so. I think so. There would be no reason to make it a plot point if it was never brought up again, so I'm sure it will be brought up again. Zoro and Wano was a missed opportunity, just like Zoro and Whole Cake Island. Well, Zoro and Wano was a bevy of missed opportunities. Zoro really hasn't mattered at all in Wano. Outside of the fact that he got Emma, Zoro hasn't really been a major part of the plot. He doesn't really have a character dynamic with Hiyori. Hiyori just fell in love with his Marimo because he has 2 swords. Or he was using like 2-3 swords. There was no conflict, no emotional attachment. The Toniyasu plotline was bad. It was all off-screen. And the things that Zoro's been doing, it's been bad in terms of his overall like progression as a character when it comes to strength. It's going to be hard to reach the levels of bad that Zoro was in Punk Hazard. So there's that. I guess he's improved since then. Zoro in Dressrosa was, for the most part, fine. He didn't do anything bad. He just wasn't useful. In terms of character, I mean, he beat Pika and all that, but he didn't really have a purpose. Just why was Zoro so bad in Punk Hazard? Well, I'm going to save that, but I will say this. If you go back and read Punk Hazard, it is the biggest defecation on Zoro's character motivations and character backstory in the entire series, and it's not even close. It literally retcons and makes Zoro shit when it comes to its core motivations, and it's not explained properly at all. And people think it's actually a good moment, but it's horrendous for Zoro's character. It makes me furious going back to read that section of Punk Hazard. It is so bad. It is so bad. The reason I think ZKK damages Zoro's character in relation to his dream is that I think it actually undermines Zoro's dream. Because Zoro's dream hasn't mattered. Zoro hasn't made proper progression in his dream. If he kills Kaido, it's basically just saying like, boom, dream's over, boom. I fought a gay fishman in Fishman Island. I beat a bird. I fought a mountain, and now I killed a Yonko. Look at my progression. So amazing. Oh yes, and I did it through because Odin let me do it. No, thank you. Teddy donated $5 saying, I think Oda changed the looks of the gifters so he could use Tama to tame them. Sheep's Head had a base form that was like a regular person. Change the gifters? I honestly haven't paid attention. Maybe? I don't know. I honestly don't know. That's not something I'm knowledgeable of. Just overall, would you say the commanders for all Yonko crews have been treated poorly, with maybe the exception of a few like Marco? Well, I mean, we can't really count Shanks because Shanks isn't in the story yet. But between Big Mom and Kaido and Whitebeard, well, I mean, the ones that are treated poorly are mainly Big Mom's and Kaido's. Whitebeards aren't as treated badly in terms of writing. I mean, a couple of them got folded, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's bad writing. Marco kind of got folded in Wano, though, so there's that. Sheridan, I'm talking about why ZKK would be bad for Zoro's dream in becoming the world's strongest swordsman, because it would further ruin the progression of how he even reaches that dream. Because the things that are happening to Zoro in Wano, the way they're being explained and used this character is, one, not executed well, and two, it kind of mocks Zoro itself, because one of the things we've learned from the rooftop battle is that Enma matters more than Zoro, even though we learned whenever we got Enma that Zoro was supposed to matter more, but the fight has made it clear it's just Enma. It's not Zoro. So you have contradictory things happening. Who I think is the better protagonist between Ichigo and Luffy? Well, I haven't read Bleach in a long time, so I can't really comment. Are me and Dustin cool? You guys seem to be the only ones that are actually honest about One Piece. As far as I'm aware, Dustin hates me. So, I don't have anything against Dustin. I disagree with his opinions. But I don't have anything against him. Would Kid coming back and killing Kaido after he loses to Luffy be bad? Depends on how it's done. I don't know. I mean, most ideas are fine as long as you can execute them well. It would depend on what happens with all the other characters involved. Dustin doesn't hate me. Well, the last time that someone told me that Dustin mentioned me was in a sentence when Dustin said, "Don't put me and Dritz in the same sentence, please." So, I don't care if Dustin doesn't like me, because Dustin's doing his own thing. He can think what he wants to think, and it doesn't really bother me. I don't have anything against Dustin. What if they all get clowned and Act 3 ends in tragedy? Stop it. Stop it. It's been a long time since I met Dustin. Yeah, well, I mean, we're not in the same community anymore. We don't talk about the same things. The last time I interacted with Dustin was comparing Guts to like 12 other My Hero characters, which we disagreed on. What is Oda doing with Kid? I don't know. I don't have an answer for that. I can never forget that beating, Nalo. Is Dustin still doing YouTube though? I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I think he's been doing streams, right? Oh, Laz doesn't like me? Me and Laz are friends, but we don't agree with each other on writing and series, which is fine. What you see between myself and Laz is what we call a healthy disagreement. Where obviously Laz thinks differently of One Piece than I do, and so do a vast majority of the people that I talk to that I'm friends with. I sit down and I talk to Laz often. Laz doesn't like what I think about One Piece, but that's about it. Me and Laz get along fine. Because I think Toki is alive, and cover page 631 shows a samurai sitting with the Crocus one. I no longer think Toki is alive. Now that Zoro is leaving the rooftop, I am 100% convinced, beyond any reason of a doubt, that the person we saw was in fact Hiyori, and it's not like a gotcha. Zoro will meet Hiyori, and that's the person. Toki is just that bad. Is King my friend? King of Lightning? Yeah, me and King are fine. We don't talk to each other a whole lot. We talk to each other when we collab, but me and King get along just fine. Myself and King have never had any disagreements that are like, we had beef with each other. My second favorite My Hero character, and I can't say Endeavor. Endeavor is my number one. He'd be my number 1 through 5 if I could. Second favorite My Hero character. Jeez. Maybe Hawks? Healthy disagreements, not as common as it should be. Healthy disagreements should be more common, Tyler. You're right. And actually, you do see them quite a lot. It's just that it doesn't, people aren't as noticeable of it. Like, for instance, if you want to see a healthy disagreement, look to how I am basically friends with a vast majority of the people in the One Piece community that still love One Piece. Like me, you guys know how I think about One Piece. But I am friends and talk to these people on a weekly and sometimes a daily basis, depending upon who it is. And they are way more excited than I am about the story, but we can have fun just because One Piece isn't the only thing you can talk to people about. There are healthy disagreements all the time. Like myself, me and Brago. Me and Brago are we're amazing friends. Talk to each other often. And Brago loves One Piece with all of his heart. But he understands that I think differently and he doesn't have an issue with it. And to be honest, I actually give them more credit because I can be very overbearing. Do I think the damage that Zoro took will have consequences at Dritz? When you say consequences, do you mean like long term? If you mean long term, no. These are just battle wounds that are relevant for this arc. It's like most arcs where, Luffy gets really, really hurt fighting somebody and then he's like out for 4 days sleeping. It's like the same thing. Zoro will get hurt and then he'll recover. I don't think it's going to be similar to the pre-time skip where Zoro got sliced by Mihawk and was like nerfed for 3 arcs. Or when Zoro got hurt by Kuma and then was nerfed in Sabaody. It could be, though. I mean, you could argue that that's a trend. Oda does that with Zoro where he injures him and then has him nerfed in the following arc. That could happen with Zoro and Wano. Zoro could get really, really badly hurt in Wano and then be nerfed for Elbaf. Completely reasonable. It's actually a good idea. That's a good idea. That is a good idea. Just you think you're cool because I have black friends? That's right. I feel cool, man. I feel hip. Is Luffy Yonko level? Well, we'll have to find out, AFT. Yo, Brian, Masters Joust? Ridiculous. Did Odin do did Odin damage Kaido with raw strength? No, he used Rio. I mean, we know Odin that was good at Rio. He was even trying to teach it to the Scabbards. I am co-hosting the cookout. That's right. One Piece characters don't talk to each other, Trill. That's just how it goes. Dritz, bringing back Orochi was a waste of time. What did he accomplish by starting that fire? And what's sad is the Scabbards don't even care about him despite everything he's done. Why did he come back? Because he was always going to come back. He's a waste of time, and he always will be because he's not a good character. But he's brought back because there needs to be a resolution between not only himself, but you have the Hiyori stuff that was introduced in Act 2 about wanting to defeat Orochi. And he basically started the fire so that it's going to help the protagonists. That's why it was done. Stop talking about Kobe confusion. I don't care. Do I really think they will go to Elbaf? Yes, I think it's guaranteed. Dritz solidifies Shanks as top one and having beat Kaido before Marineford, don't you think? Well, neither of those can be true. Like, it's not confirmed Shanks top one. We don't know. I had Shanks top 5. I had him above Kaido on my previous list before this chapter was even out. We don't know if he's actually beaten Kaido. Could he have? Yeah. Could he have injured Kaido or fought Kaido and impressed him? Yeah. We don't really know what happened. It's not like we can't jump to the conclusion that Kaido ran to Shanks on the way to Marineford and Shanks beat his ass silly. They probably had a fight, which is what was said to have happened. Shanks likely injured Kaido. And, that impressed Kaido. We don't know. I would have Shanks over Kaido, though. I don't know if he's number 1. But he's definitely a contender. Having Shanks number 1's fine. Would Orochi have been better if he was the second strongest behind Kaido and competent as well? Second, I mean, people would have liked him better for sure if he was the second strongest and competent. The main issue with Orochi is that his character writing is pretty, and there's not a real connection or plot line that anyone cares about to the characters in the arc, and that's kind of the main issue. Orochi being a coward and being a meme, despite the fact that he has a mythical Zoan, is one thing. That's not that's not like the main issue. The main issue is that there's nothing there with Orochi that anyone cares about, which is the same issue we've had with the Scabbards, with most of Wano, is that Oda did not build a good foundation and then build off of it for anyone caring about the people of Wano, any of the characters. It would mean more if that was done. His strength isn't an issue, although people would have liked him to have been strong. What would I say were the main issues of Marineford? Power scaling. By far, power scaling. If you look at Marineford, it doesn't make any sense considering how strong the characters were. Some of them make sense, most of them don't. I think Luffy is top 10 in One Piece. If Luffy continues to have Hyo and Rayleigh flashbacks, he's top 1. Where I think Blackbeard went to, I mean I would like if he went after Pluton. That'd be cool. Are we going to have a major death in this arc? Well, yeah. I think that Kaido's gonna die. So that would be a major death. Now, you talking about from the protagonist side? Outside of a scabbard? No. There will be no deaths that people care about. But there will be at least one character death. Dritz, now that Kaido has advanced cock, won't that make Shanks look worse? Like having advanced cock is what people use to put him top 1, but Kaido having it is what is there for Shanks to be special. Well, I would agree with you if it wasn't already kind of hinted at that even among Conqueror's Haki users, Shanks himself is special. So despite what Kaido can do, I think it's fair and obvious to say that Shanks can do more. Thoughts on Luffy's power up this chapter? The TLDR power roll is that I don't think it really made a whole lot of sense. Do you think Oda thinks that we see Kaido and Big Meme in the same light as Whitebeard and Shanks? Yeah, I think he thinks that. What do I think about Law dying in Wano? I think it's an impossibility. If you don't like ZKK kill happening, then who's killing Kaido? I don't know. I just don't think Zoro's going to be willing to do it. As I've said before, the only way I can see Zoro killing Kaido is if it's like a pity kill, where Kaido was already defeated and someone needs to do it, or like, Kaido's defeated and like he's like, I'm on the ground defeated. Oh, Luffy turned his back. I'm gonna finish him off, and then Zoro kills him. I could see that happening, but it's not going to be the end of the battle is Zoro killing Kaido. The only way I can see it happening is through cheese. There is far too much writing for Luffy to be the one to defeat Kaido. Far, far too much. So if Zoro kills Kaido, it won't be defeating Kaido. It will be, as it is, killing him. Who's a worse character for you, Chopper or Sanji? Sanji. Dritz, Zoro fans would be satisfied no matter which ways. No, that's actually not true. That's actually not true. Because I have brought this up before. Whenever in 2019, when I made a thread on Twitter talking about why Zoro will not kill Kaido, and I even said the only way it would happen is if Zoro got a pity kill. ZKK people were like, no, he's not gonna get a pity kill. It can't happen. Zoro, it's Ryuma. It's slaying the dragon in the sky. He has to beat him. No, they don't care about that. They want it to happen their way and not through any other way. What's worth the fourth great ninja? What's worse, the fourth great ninja war or Wano? uh, overall, like there are better moments in the Great Ninja War than there are in Wano, but the fuck ups in the Ninja War are so much more severe because it's the ending of the story. So, Dritz, is this why you're disappointed in Kid because you thought he might be the one that killed Kaido? No. I'm disappointed in Kid because he's not a character. I don't care if he doesn't kill Kaido. I just want his character to be good. What do I think about Kaido getting executed in front of the people of Wano? That's fine. That's fine. Nighty night, Hassan. Dritz, knowing full well Luffy is soloing Kaido but doesn't want to accept it. I don't know anything. I don't know what's gonna happen. This is a One Piece fight. There's gonna be some bullshit involved. So I don't know. The fourth Great Ninja War has Naruto versus Sasuke. Dritz, that's better than pretty much anything in Wano. That's true. That is true. It's much better than anything in Wano. I'm late. What was your opinion on 10-10? You liked it or not? I didn't like it, but I didn't dislike it. I just see some problems with the logic of power scaling. It's kind of like a meh. Yeah, for chapters like this where it's heavily reliant on your engagement in the story, as someone who's checked out and I don't really care, it's I don't really get that hype feeling. Like to get hype, I'd have to leave Wano and go see other characters. So that part's whatever. It didn't hit me that much. I understand. This is a big moment though. This is a huge moment for some of the characters. I think it could have been done better though. What's up, Beyond? Dritz, do you think One Piece lacks plot progression within arcs? Plot progression? And what definition of plot do you mean? Because from an arc from beginning to end, there's a story and then the story ends. I kind of get what you mean, but I don't think you're saying it right. I think that Oda has issues with properly progressing the plot. Yeah, I think One Piece suffers from that. I think that's why you see a lot of long arcs with a lot of filler in the arcs. Yeah, I still plan on reading Attack on Titan. Regardless of whatever people say about the ending, I mean, I'm just going to come to my own conclusion. I will come to my own conclusion based on my own thoughts, mate. Dritz, do you think Oda is sometimes trying too hard to subvert expectations? Yes, but we have confirmation that Oda actually tries to do that because Oda has said before in interviews that whenever he finds out people have figured out what he's doing, he then changes the idea for the sake of subverting expectations, which is not good. That's not good. So yes, when we have confirmation for that. We already know. Oh, glad you're enjoying Berserk, Crimson. 80 chapters in. Oh, 80 chapters. You are reaching the moment. Are there any problems in Enies Lobby, Dritz? Yes, yeah. There are problems with Enies Lobby. Power-ups, power scaling. Yeah, there are problems. Dritz, Zoro used Ashura 3 times with 3 different named attacks, but somehow the execution of the attacks have the same pose. Oda lacking in creativity? Question mark, question mark, question mark. Well, this comes down to your preference and opinion, but in my opinion, yeah, I mean, when you look at a lot of Zoro's techniques in One Piece, and this is not just Ashura, there's like, some of the finishing blows is just Zoro moves really fast and appears behind someone resheathing his sword or something, and like they get sliced. There's a lot of that. Swordsmanship isn't all that it's cracked up to be in One Piece, so you run into those issues. It would be nice to see more of Ashura, though. I think that's like the main thing that people have. Is like, I don't really care if like Zoro did like the same thing 2 or 3 times. I just want to see more. I don't believe you're checked out of completely off One Piece in my years of following of One Piece. Those that are the most critical are the biggest fans, so I don't buy when you say One Piece isn't your favorite series. Cliff, that used to be the case. I can tell you that, yeah, One Piece used to be my favorite, but I can only withstand so much before I lose that faith. I lose that passion. Because I'll tell you now, Cliff, is that whenever I was making angry rant videos, whenever I was making 40-minute reviews, breaking down the chapters in Wano, I was still heavily invested in the series. But that's no longer the case. Whenever like I don't really care about most of the characters anymore, it's for me that's confirmation of me just checking out of One Piece. I've been hurt by many series before, and it's something that you're always going to run into when you find something you love and it hurts you, is that the pain's still going to be there. And yeah, deep down inside, I still love aspects of One Piece. But the current One Piece, no, I don't like it. So I'm checked out of the current One Piece. Overall, yes, I like One Piece, just not current. Dritz, sword fights in One Piece are lacking because Oda doesn't know how to choreograph them. That's actually true. Oda's not very good at choreographing swordplay. Yo, thanks for dropping by, Luffy. Appreciate it. Is the community so good that you wouldn't even take a break, though? Are you talking to me, Marcus? Because if that comment is to me, like, I'm not sure if you're aware, but I don't make videos anymore. So, like, I've been on extended hiatus and break for what's been like 2 years at this point. Just do you think Oda would benefit greatly from a proper no bullshit editor? Not only would Oda benefit from that, but any author anywhere would benefit from an editor that is harsh and is no bullshit. That's for me. That's like simple. It's like, you know, that's what you want your editors to do. You want your editors to do their job. And Oda's editors seemingly don't do their job at all. Because if they were properly doing their job, then shit like this wouldn't happen. And the only explanation would be that if they are properly doing their job, then Oda's just saying no, fuck you, and doing it anyway. But that does not seem to be the case. All of the signs point to the editors not being able to do their job. What I think of the Reverie chapters, I like the Reverie chapters. I liked them as we were getting them, and they're still fun to read. I think there's a bit of bittersweet feeling in the community because Oda off-screened everything, and that all of the big moments we were waiting for, we didn't get to see happen. I think people were a bit spurned by that. Just if you were Oda's editor, what's the first thing you would tell him about improving this arc? Oh my god. I mean, we're 101 chapters in. I mean, much like with all stories, it starts with just cutting down on the bullshit, fixing up the logic, and then making it more character oriented. Although, you know, the cornerstone of Wano is already, you know, it's non existent, so it's rough. I never understood why people want to separate Steel Ball Run from JoJo as a whole. While I agree that it is the best, by no means, but it is by no means far and above everything else. Well, the reason people do that, Harvest and Berries, is one is that people do think it is by far the best above everything else. But the reason why people separate Steel Ball Run from JoJo is because they want to praise that part of JoJo, and that if they were to combine all of the JoJo parts, they would not have the same opinion. That's the facts. When people say Steel Ball Run's the best manga, or like Steel Ball Run is the best, they don't have that opinion when they think about JoJo overall. Because then their overall opinion of the series probably goes down. If they have that opinion of Steel Ball Run. That's typically what happens. When people separate Steel Ball Run from the series, it's as a means to praise Steel Ball Run and for people to read Steel Ball Run more so than anything else. Am I watching Falcon and the Winter Soldier? No. I don't really watch TV shows, man. Which character would you characterize as the main character in the Reverie? Quite the sentence there, Confusion. But basically, from whose perspective would I tell would I have the audience witness the struggles through? The answer is obvious. Vivi. Have I heard of Golden Kamuy? Yes. Sanji has gone somewhere. Where do you think he will go? To Marco or Yamato? um. Uh, hmm. Probably to Yamato. Just how would you handle the Luffy versus Kaido fight at this point to make sense in giving respect to both Kaido's status and Luffy's growth? That's a tough question. Oda's in a tough situation. And I don't know if there is a good way to balance it out in a one-on-one because realistically, it should be impossible for Luffy to win. It should be impossible for Luffy to win. Hmm. how to balance it, how to handle. This isn't like fixing the outcome, but this needs to be a result of the battle in order for the audience to feel like they actually went through something. But Luffy, by the end of Wano, needs to have sustained long time injuries that don't just disappear after eating in a feast. Luffy, after Wano, after fighting Kaido, should be the most fucked up and injured he's ever been in the series. Even worse from whenever he got the residual magma from Akainu when he punched through Jinbei. Luffy should be really, really, really fucked up. Scars, major injuries, people worried about him. That should be as a consequence that people feel like, it wasn't like a Katakuri where none of it mattered. The injuries need to be real. Did Yamato for Nakama annoy you so much that it caused you to come out of hiatus temporary? Yamato for Nakama does annoy me because Yamato as a character just really, really irks me. But I just wanted to get my thoughts out there with that Yamato video. Dritz, do you think that because of Oda's mystery over matter writing style makes the series worse as the series goes on? In the long run, if that's how you continue to write, then naturally, I think as a writer, you're going to run into problems. Whenever you build up mysteries for a very long period of time and you're reaching the end of the story and all of you're doing is just still building up mystery without really properly giving satisfying answers to some mysteries, you're going to run into fatigue for the readers because they're going to start checking out. If they aren't getting the payoff from previous things, they're not going to care about future things. So yes, the mystery over matter writing style from Oda is not something that is helping right now, although I'm not saying it's bad. If it's executed well, it's great. Let me see here. What if Luffy and Zoro get put into a coma for months and we get basically a minor time skip? Coma for months. With them what? They just wake up and they're fine? Dritz, does it bother you that Miura takes so many breaks without a real excuse as far as we know? Yeah, it does. One of the things that I've criticized all authors, including Miura, is that they have a medium available to them that allows them to directly communicate with their audience, to explain things to them that they would have questions about. So, like, for instance, Togashi, like, I understand a lot of these manga have health issues, and that's perfectly fine, but be honest with your audience. Tell them things that they want to hear, like, they need to know to put them at rest. Like, for Togashi, he's been gone for forever. We know Togashi's health fucking sucks. Address things that the audience wants to hear as far as explanations go for your material. Tell them what your plans are. Tell them what you intend to do. And if those plans change because of life. For Miura, like, why, why do you need so long? Is it just health? Is it a combination of things? Are you running into issues? Are you just really, really not sure of what to do? Maybe it's a personal issue. I just wish authors would communicate more with their audiences. And Nate, that's right. Uh, you'll notice one of the things for Berserk that I would criticize is that as the series has gone on longer, there have been more instances of Miura wasting panel time, which is not a good thing. What's the most complete story you've ever read? I don't know. I don't know. Having read Mistborn and enjoyed the magic system Allomancy, does the Stormlight Archive achieve a better or comparable magic system? In my opinion, the Stormlight Archive's magic system is not as good as Mistborn's, but the characters are much better. If Sanji meets Yamato, do you think they'll go to the rooftop or fight King and Queen and Perospero? Sanji going to the rooftop? I don't think Sanji's going to the rooftop. How bad are Berserk's hiatuses before I start reading it? Well, Berserk's publication schedule is basically one chapter every 3 to 4 months. And it's these chapters are essentially weekly chapters where it's like 16 to 18 pages. It's not like a an Attack on Titan or other monthly chapters where you get 40 pages instead of 16. So we basically get a weekly chapter once every 3 to 4 months. What do I think about Mihawk not being name dropped in Wano? Missed opportunity for the lore of Wano citizenry and also just for Mihawk in general. During Act 2, when Act 2 was all about the Straw Hats being incorporated into the Wano society, there should have been stuff. I know you're not the biggest fan of Haikyuu, but what do you think about how Furodate handled its ending? Personally, it's one of my favorite endings to anything I've read. This is actually kind of unique because by far from anything that I read in Haikyuu, the ending of Haikyuu was my favorite part of the story. But I also think it's ironic because I also think it was incredibly rushed. Incredibly rushed, skipping over lots of things, lots of character motivations, and lots of plot points. But it was definitely more entertaining than what came before it. I'm not sure what that says about the stuff that came before it, but it was satisfying. I will say it was satisfying. Thoughts on Eva Lara and Berserk? Don't really have many issues with Eva Lara. She's maybe used for one or two more gags than she's supposed to, but she's no Puck. She's no Puck. As a matter of fact, Eva Lara has shown more connection with Shirka than Puck has since Eva Lara has been introduced. Than Puck in relation to Guts for Puck. Dritz, you know the authors aren't going to tell the fans anything. That's too much behind the scenes stuff. Brandon Sanderson does. Brandon fucking Sanderson does. He has a YouTube channel where he gives you updates on the story. He posts on Reddit. He makes videos. He tells you what's going on. Brandon Sanderson does. Because I heard a lot of Attack on Titan fans rant about its ending. Why mangakas are struggling more and more when it comes to ending a series. So, let me, in my opinion, correct this statement. It is not that mangakas in particular are struggling with their stories. It is any author of any genre in general that struggle to handle their stories. Mangakas struggle, regular book authors struggle to end their stories, producers of TV shows, everyone that writes stories has trouble properly ending them if they go on for long enough. And that's a big, big issue. But you see a lot of that within manga. Bad endings, rushed. And there's a lot that goes into it. Who was my favorite Hunter x Hunter character while I was reading? Hisoka was my favorite. Then probably Killua and Meruem. Do I think anime and manga have it the worst when it comes to reliance on overused tropes and cliches? Well, I mean, you'll find overused tropes and cliches in any medium, TV shows, books. Um, one of the biggest cliches in books is actually how men write women. It's actually very funny because half the sentences go like, "And she was buxom, boobs huge, ass thick, beautiful, jiggle jiggle wherever she went." But yes, anime and manga suffer greatly from the overusage of tropes and cliches. And to clarify, it's not that tropes and cliches are bad. Just because you have a trope or you have a cliche doesn't mean that it's bad. But if you execute it bad, then yeah, you're going to run into issues. What Brandon Sanderson book should I read first? Way of Kings is very, very good. That's his best book in my opinion. Now that Big Mom is alone, does Kid finally get his shiny moment? I don't know. He could. It could be off screen. I honestly have no idea. One of the benefits from chapter 1010 is that we don't know where things are going to go. Who I like the most? Guts, Itachi, and Ace. You like the most? Yeah, Guts. Guts is my favorite character in anything ever. So Guts wins by default for me. Which was better, Marineford or the Chimera Ant arc? Chimera Ant's pretty long. So there's a lot to unpack within Chimera Ant. I'll say which one was better. I think Chimera Ant is better. Which one do I kind of prefer? Hmm, that's close. That's actually pretty close. Because Marineford's my favorite One Piece arc. Doesn't mean I think it's the best written, but it's my favorite One Piece arc. But Chimera Ant was really, really good, and I have my gripes with both arcs. Hmm. I I might like Chimera Ant more. I don't know. Wait, if we include Marineford, does that include the ASL flashback? If it does, I probably have to pick Marineford. Do I like Hunter x Hunter more than One Piece? No. My boy Cliff says, I think One Piece will have a great ending because Oda has had the ending planned for a long time. And in a magazine, he said his conclusion would be very long. So I think one of the things that, Cliff, I think you bring up a good point, which I think this often goes by the wayside, is whenever we classify what an ending of a story is, we have to be clear on what we mean by it, which is, as an example, the actual ending of Naruto is great, but the final arc is bad. The final few chapters of Naruto, with Naruto and Sasuke coming to their resolution with their characters, is great, but the arc that it's encompassed in is not great. So the same could be said of One Piece when you think about the ending. Will the final arc be great? I don't know. I hope so. But if, let's say, it follows the same pattern as Naruto, where the final arc is bad, but it has a very good ending, what do we say about the ending of One Piece overall? I don't know. We'll have to see. We will have to see. Have you ever read anything that was well written but was rather boring? Oh yeah, I'm sure I have. Anything that comes to mind? Um, I feel like Once Upon a Time it was My Hero, actually. Did I like the Snyder Cut? I haven't seen any of the Justice League stuff, so no opinion. Chimera Ant arc dragged in the middle, to be honest. I actually agree with that. Chimera did drag in the middle portion. It wasn't that it was bad, but it did drag. The beginning and end of Chimera are amazing, though. And I've seen a lot of people say that the beginning of Chimera isn't that good, which I disagree with. I think that was probably one of my favorite parts, is seeing things build up. One of the things that Togashi's really, really good at is building suspense and tension. He's very, very talented at that. York New would be another good example of a great tension building. What's my depiction of the ending of One Piece as of now? Depiction, as in what do I think's going to happen? Well, right now, considering the fact that I'm trying to be realistic with my current perspective on One Piece, I I think it would be the height of fallacy for me personally to believe that after not having a very positive opinion on the entirety of the post time skip, that things are magically going to change just because I want them to. If I go by all of the evidence, we should essentially be getting the same things we've been getting, just different elements of the story. So we got Whole Cake Island, we got Dressrosa, we got Fishman Island, we got all that. Am I going to expect much different than that moving forward? I don't know, just because the material's different. I thought things were going to be great heading into Whole Cake Island and Wano because of the material. So right now, I don't have a positive outlook on the future of One Piece, despite the fact that there are a lot of things that can go great. But we'll have to see. I'm guessing the breaking point for the One Piece fandom would be an Obito-like moment. Yeah, basically. The idea behind the Obito breaking point moment is that something so horrendously bad would have to happen that even the fans couldn't defend it, and people defend the Obito moment. But yeah, something like that would have to happen in One Piece, and to be honest, if Luffy 1v1s Kaido, that might be the moment. If Luffy just straight up beats Kaido man to man, I could see that being a moment. or if Big Mom betrays Kaido, and that's the reason why Kaido loses, I could see that being a moment. A GDN, stop making Donovan jokes. Boy, I will fuck you up. They did defend Olin, but for how long? We'll see. Christian, if Luffy beats Kaido right here, it's a 1v1 because there's nothing significant before that mattered. Do I think Kentaro will ever be consistent with Berserk chapters? I hope so. Ashura Dritz? Okay, Ashura what? Like the fact that if Luffy 1v1s Kaido right now, it doesn't change anything. Like it's crazy how the narrative has switched just because Kaido essentially just got a couple scratches and stuff. Like this is what happens when the fight doesn't really follow any storyline of really anything happening. It has just been people smorking each other, and now some people have gotten outsmorked. And Luffy, who should have no business 1v1 in Kaido, might 1v1 Kaido, and people are going to say, well, Kaido got gamma knifed or he got Ashura'd, even though the Ashura didn't really do anything to him. Like, compare Gamma Knife to Dofi versus Ashura to Kaido, where Ashura didn't matter, and Dofi was essentially almost dead and had to heal himself up. JD Legend! Jay, when's the stream? When's the 10K stream? In 2 hours? Oh. Rub my nipples. I love it. I love it. I will be there, Jay. Dritz, but can one make the argument that the main story and plot line of One Piece hasn't been damaged at all? From what I gather is that you have a problem with the last few chapters, not the main story. Cliff, so that we're on the same page, define for me what the main story and plot line of One Piece is. And I know it seems obvious, but define it for me so there's no confusion. And then I will answer the further question. Vistar, this is another thing that I like. When people say Frankie's anti-Kaido weapons will matter, Is this the same Franky that alongside Zoro, when Zoro said he would wind up all of the samurai and Wano to be under him? Are these the same plot lines we're talking about? Because that didn't happen. Zoro didn't do anything with the samurai. So why are we going to believe that Franky made anti-Kaido weapons? When did this happen? He was building ships for 5 days. When did these anti-Kaido weapons happen? How can he make an anti-Kaido weapon when he doesn't even know anything about Kaido? I am. He did recruit. Yeah, bull crap. He didn't recruit nothing. Just Tower of God's author has a weekly blog where he talks directly to his fans about his health issues in hiatus. Yeah, I know he does, and that's a good thing to have. Unfortunately, Tower of God went downhill, but I like the concept of him talking to his fans. All right, Cliff clarifies and says, "Finding the One Piece Roger story." I mean, this is kind of just not a sentence, but finding One Piece Roger story, Dragon's story, Void Century, Blackbeard, Emu, World Government plotline, etc. I won't go into details here, Cliff, because when I finish the first section of my video, and you're just gonna have to take my word for this, but I have an issue with how the post time skip has actually handled the plot of One Piece, and all of the things that are happening are related to that plot line because you're telling a story. The impact of Wano and what will happen impacts that journey. Five Dara from Iggy. Dritz, I just finished Falcon of the Millennium Empire arc, and I loved it. In your opinion, is Griffith in his main? I mean, it's kind of like a split because obviously half of the Millennium is centered around Guts and his journey, and then Griffith. So it's kind of like a split. But yeah, yo, good job, Tesla. I'm proud. Oh, I've actually caught with chat. Am I? I'm a god. Do I think Shanks might come to avenge Odin's? No, no, no. To avenge, that's their purpose? No. If any third party character comes to Wano, it is not with the intent of avenging Odin's death. Do I think Zoro is out of this arc? No. Yes, Scar, it is a bit odd. That is definitely part of the reasons. Oh, Kenya, do you actually agree with my stance that Wano is bad? Kenya, you're the same Kenya from BDA, aren't you? Same with Cliff. You're the same people, right? What about CP0? What about CP0? What's the question? Dritz, is there anything in One Piece that would make you drop it now? No. Regardless of how bad the outcome is, like, I'm here, baby. Maybe not to this. There are some people that probably would, but I mean, like, I've stood by it for so long now. Like, we're in the end game. Oh, so you are the same Kenya. What is this? Dritz, if Jay was Mexican, would you still have him on your street? Yo. The involvement of CP0 and Wano. I am interested in CP0. I think they'll be connected with Big Mom. Shouts to Miguel Matt B. It's based on the chapter. Do you think Zoro was unconsciously using Conqueror's Haki? Well, the answer would have to be yes. Dritz, do I think Big Mom has to go down this arc? I don't see why she's here other than at this point. Does she have to go down? No. Do I pray to God or whatever deity that exists that she does? Yes. I want her out of the story as fast as humanly possible. Please end my suffering. I didn't answer. You won't even read the spoilers if she shows up in the next arc. Oh my god. If Big Mom shows up in Elbaf, oh, that will be like 3 arcs that she's helped ruin in a row. That would be that's actually legendary. Oh my gosh. That would be so legendary. Oh my. Do I think Zor was doing Ashura with his broken bones? Were his bones even broken? Do broken bones matter in One Piece? You know, like the 7 times in the series where there's been a picture of like Usopp's skull, his literal skull, fracturing into pieces? How does he get that fixed? Did the bones matter? No. It's just like symbolism to say, owie, that hoit. But if Zoro did have broken bones, then he's what's her face? He's Urza. It don't matter. He built different. Fritz, I think Big Mom made Wano better. Kaido is the worst main villain of the series. Takes off glasses and stares incredulously. What the fuck are you talking about? Kaido worse than Big Mom? How? Who's worse, Sanji or Big Mom? Oh! So I guess this depends on your perspective. For me, Sanji is a more important character, and the fact that Oda has ruined that character for as long as he has makes Sanji worse. Kaido to me has no. This is a follow up to Confusion's last statement. Kaido to me has no personality. He is just like Moria, but with Conquer. How is he just? Kaido is Moria with Conqueror's Haki. Big Mom has more dimensions to her, and she looks cute when she eats. First of all, why does this last sentence matter? She looks cute when she eats. If Kaido has no personality, what personality does Big Mom have? Let's see what else I have to answer. Who do I think is better, Madara or Kaido? Madara. I have not read Naruto in a long time, but I'm going to say Madara for now, based on what I remember from the backstory. That could change though. I don't think Madara is a stupendous villain necessarily, but I would have to reread. Is Zoro gonna defeat Mihawk with a bullshit? With a bullshit. It's like a usable item in a video game. A bullshit. I want to say no. I want to say no. Sounds like a pretty good theory. Big Mom is actually charming and strategic despite her mental conditions. If Kaido really wanted to die, he would have challenged Whitebeard to death. Kaido was exposed during Oden's flashback. She's quite strategic, you say. Maybe in the first half of Whole Cake Island. Yeah, Big Mom was very strategic in just taking her ship up the waterfall of Wanda and then being pushed off and then getting amnesia. That's great. Confusion, you have to admit that Big Mom has been clowned on time and time and time again. The way that she has been abused for the plot is like Sanji levels of abuse. Now, I agree with you that I think that Big Mom's core of her character is actually better established than Kaido's. I agree with that. Because I think Kaido's doesn't actually make any sense whatsoever. Although the Rocks flashback, the theoretical one, could explain that. But the stuff with Oden it doesn't make any sense. Yo, Abdel. Thanks for joining the stream. Thoughts on the chapter? TLDR. Some of the writing didn't make some sense. We have to wait for answers in some parts. Power scaling issues are around with Luffy. Luffy. But the chapter brought up a lot of things to talk about. Just her character premise is great. That is why I said she is better than Kaido in terms of premise. The abuse is Oda's inability to write a good story. Okay, I mean I can see that. Hasn't Act 2 been ranted about enough? Has it? Actually, it may be true. People haven't been ranting about Act 3 enough. Could Kaido beat the Rusakaina animals? Maybe. Glam, please. What do you think is next for Law? Will he get off of the rooftop? Yeah. I mean, he could either. I mean, he's either coming back, or he's doing something else. I mean, pretty easy. But Law is weird. I never expected Oda to do this. Like, whenever it came down to a 1v1 between Kaido and Luffy, which we always knew, like at the end, maybe it would be a 1v1 after Kaido was nerfed. He wasn't nerfed, which is. But I never expected Luffy, for some fucking reason, to tell his allies, "Yo, leave me alone, I can handle this." And for them to, like, listen. I always thought that they would be defeated and Luffy would be the last one standing. Yeah, what's up, Ray? That may be true, Yak. That may be true. At any rate, this seems like a good place to end today's stream. As usual, I will create a follow-up of all of my opinions on the chapter, which I will post onto the Bird app Twitter, which I think I have linked in the description below. I will re-upload this onto my secondary channel, which if you are not subscribed to it or you care enough to check out the VODs, that is also in the description below. But I will be ending the stream here, and I will catch you guys for the next chapter that comes out. Adios.